This is a brief on-demand demo of inTakt software. For more detailed features, you can look at the other videos on our YouTube channel, or please reach out to us if you have any questions. I'll start off by creating a new project, and this project, I'll give it a clever name, on-demand demo. And let's say the project starts January 1st. We'll get a good fresh start to the new year here. And a predicted rough end date. I'll throw that in there, but that's okay. It can be modified later. I'm going to hit Create Project to get it started here. So now we're left with the project setup window. I'll start by creating some zones. So let's say I'll start with, I'm going to click in there first, start with floor 1, and we do zones and subzones. I think of zones as the sheet that you're working from in the drawings, and subzones are those areas within that sheet. So then floor 1, I'll do several areas here, and notice it's as simple as hitting enter to just add another one. I wanted to make it really quick, snappy, very easy to build more. In fact, I'm going to take a shortcut here, and I'm just going to duplicate floor 1 into floor 2, and you'll notice if I was to expand this that I have duplicated that. Then we go through the tasks. So creating tasks is just as simple. I could just start typing in here, layout and framing, for example. Hit enter. Notice it automatically assigns colors. Makes that dead simple. I'll put another one in here, overhead HVAC. If I don't like those colors for some reason, I can go in here and change those to whatever. Or if there's some reason there's also these task properties, which we can get into more detail later, where I can vary the task period to be different than what's standard. And there's a lot of other settings that more videos will go into, but just know that there are a ton of options for setting crew sizes, quantity, cost loading, all that good stuff. But I'll jump out of there for now, and just to speed things up, I'm going to pull another inTakt feature here. I'm going to grab tasks from another project. So a lot of times let's find a good one here. A lot of times you have another project that's just already been laid out really well, and you can use that as a template for future projects. So selecting the work days is dead simple. Selecting the typical takt period, and then we have our start date, which is always editable. Even after you've started the project, you can make changes here. It'll reflect those changes on all tasks moving forward. Let's go ahead and add ourselves a holiday, and that holiday will be Independence Day. That'd be embarrassing if I misspelled that. We'll find out later. I'm going to go into here to 4th of July. It looks like in 2024 it lands on a Thursday. So I say we give our workers Thursday and Friday off that week. And I'll hit save. And you can add more holidays that way. And you'll notice as I'm doing this real time, it's calculating our end date. So you can see and make some changes to the schedule you've built. So let's build a couple phases while we're here. So this one, instead of phase 1, let's rename it to Rough-ins. Hit enter there. And I'm going to add another phase here. In this phase, I will call it Finishes. So phases are unique sequences of work. I'm going to borrow these same areas from the previous phase, but unique sequences within the same project. And just to save us the time, I'm actually going to copy from, let's copy from this demo project here, the finishes phase list. And it looks like these are all on a 4-day takt. I can reduce the standard takt period to 4 days. Maybe I'll even reduce it down to 3, just to show the different functionality there. But let's say there's particular tasks that happen to have double the task period, for example. But with that double task period, I'll actually put 2 crews, or sorry, I just did the crew size. I'll do 2 leapfrogging crews there, but may as well add a little crew size to this task just to show that functionality. And I hit confirm there. You notice it shows those exceptions, that it's on a 6-day takt period, which is different, so it's showing that, and then it shows the fact that it has 2 crews, so you can instantly see what's making it unique. And I'm also going to copy that same holiday from phase 1 just to make it simple. All right, I'm just going to go ahead and hit save, and we're going to watch our schedule get generated. And you'll notice we have our phase 1. Let me go back in there and rename that really quick. Phase 1 is actually the rough-in phase. Let's call it rough-ins. Hit enter. And then we have the finishes phase below it. But let's say, of course we can't start the finishes phase until we're a little bit further through our rough-ins. And so I'm going to go through down here, and I'm going to grab the links. So notice that each task has links by default. Let me kind of show it on this task here, that by default, it has the crew logic, or the flow through the zones. It also has just the logistical logic, this trade needs to go before that trade. And it creates all these ties, finish to start. They're so predictable, these relationships, that we generally don't show them. But you can if you'd like to, and you can actually delete, modify them, change the overlaps, all sorts of things there. But to keep this demo simple, there are other demos that go more advanced. I'm going to hit edit links, and let's say that I'll start the finishes phase after this task. One cool feature we have as well is any task that would create circular logic, it actually grays them out so you can't create circular logic on accident. So you kind of set it up for success, that you're not going to accidentally make poor logic ties or things like that. And I can make those ties there, but to make it more interesting, let's add a milestone here. I'll be really creative, and I'll just do a rough-ins complete. Rough-ins complete. I could add some sort of description there if we care to do so, and make it a finish milestone. And by default, wherever you place it, it's going to have a constrained date, unless you add a predecessor. So that's another way we're kind of fail-safing good planning. I'm going to hit save links there. And I'll do one more thing to this. I'm going to show a milestone guideline that goes up to this top. When I hit add milestone, notice now it's showing up along this summary, that if it is collapsed, we can see the milestone there. And then it lists the full name there. And there's a lot of options there for those types of things. I'll show you one-off tasks really quickly. So maybe I'll just create some random task here. Notice there's various types of tasks you can create just on the fly. You can create buffers, delay tasks that you can mark as different. You can add existing tasks. Even if you delete an existing task, you can add back that same existing task. Or you can duplicate those wherever you want. I'm going to create something new and unique here. And I guess red's a good fitting color for inspections, and maybe I'll make it a 3-day, which I know it's kind of ridiculous, but I'll leave that on there. And I'm also going to put a relationship in here. I'm going to add that as a predecessor, those corrections on that floor. I'm going to hit save. And boom, now we have inspections, and any unique relationships show up with those relationship lines. But all the standard ones, I currently have them hidden. So there's a quick look at those. I want to show, and I'm just touching on just various random features, and not nearly enough time in this demo to go into great detail. But like I said, on our YouTube channel, there's a lot more information. I'm going to add what's called roadblocks. And so let's say on January 25th, we're expecting to receive the answer to RFI number 231. That's a pretty high number for this early in the project, but I'll just go for it. Design issues of some sort. It's always easy to blame the design, but you're great people. It's working hard. I'm going to hit responsible party, like who it is that is responsible for tracking or resolving that RFI. And then I can select which tasks are affected, and I can hold down the control button and do some multi-select. And I'm going to hit add roadblock. Looks like I hit a shortcut key for showing the manpower, which brings me to the display settings. I'm going to go back in here and change this from the workforce back to a regular label. But with these labels, I could turn off the task name, for example, and instead put task numbers. I really like putting the name on there. I can show the weekends and days off, the holidays, all that good stuff. Where's that 4th of July at? Right through there. I can toggle the lock line, which we'll go into what that does in a little bit here, and even toggling on and off these roadblocks that we just added. So these exclamation marks or roadblocks are things that need to be resolved before we get to those activities. And there's all sorts of other display settings and things we can get into. And if you want to look at workforce, histograms, manpower, all that stuff, cost loading, take a look at some of the other videos. But for this one, to keep it brief, I guess I'll also mention we do have a lot of filtering capabilities. Basically, any property in inTakt, you can filter by it. But I'll just do something really simple here. I'll filter just by, actually those are the zones, I'm going to leave those alone. I'm going to come into my finishes and I just want to see the low voltage trim and final clean for some reason. You'll notice now within this phase I've filtered that down to that degree, and I can come in here and I could actually give the filter a name and save it and all that stuff, or I could just say let's drop it for now. Okay, so I feel like we've done some good things here in schedule. I'd like to jump into the work plan view. So this is more like the look ahead work. And you'll notice here some of these tasks already have subtasks on them. So this is dead simple tracking here. You just tap once to say yes, it's done. Tap twice to say no, I didn't do it as according to plan, or tap 3 times to reset. And so the intention here is for various trade partners or crews to be able to put their status like just dead simple in the schedule. We also have the ability to just add new tasks on the fly, and I can just drag them any which way and drop them, and it's just, we try to make it just dead simple so people can just do their look ahead plans. But let's say rather than entering those each day or each week, I can come right into the schedule, and you'll notice some of these have these down arrows on them. That down arrow means that it already has standard subtasks. So these are ones that automatically just repeat throughout. I can go through week to week and make all sorts of customized changes to them, or tailor them to that particular task that particular week. But I can also just go with the standard ones. Just a big time saver. And notice these arrows here I'm clicking allow me just to jump back and forth to see what all the subtasks are. So I can go to this overhead HVAC that doesn't have subtasks, and I'll just be really generic here and just say subtask A, and I could put someone responsible for that. I could even show that it's another trades task, working in the area. Let's see, I'll grab that one, drag it out, and then I'll do subtask B. And this one I'm not even going to put anyone responsible. So that's a bad practice there, but I'm doing it. Tagging just adds all sorts of flexibility for filtering and setting permissions and all that granularity. There's more videos on that you can check out. But I'll hit confirm here, and you'll notice now I have the down arrow on this overhead HVAC. If I hit save, it's going to save to all the tasks that haven't been completed yet in the schedule. So you'll see those tasks showing up here each week as we go through the TACT plan. All those standard subtasks are there, but let's say for some crazy reason we don't have this particular task in there, no problem that week, and I can replace it with something different. Something crazy there, but just to show some of that functionality, I'm going to show you how zone maps work. This is one of our more popular features. This one allows us to visualize the plan to see what's where at any point in time. I'm going to manage the selected drawings, upload something new. I could drag and drop, but I'll just browse on my computer here, and I'm going to find this particular floor plan. I can zoom in, crop and rotate and all that good stuff, but that looks pretty good there. Now it's going to optimize it. It's actually downloading it at multiple zoom levels so that we can zoom in a little more and see more detail in the drawing. You'll notice this. So for floor 1, we have these 4 areas here. I can just tap on one of these areas and just drag these nodes, and they automatically snap to 90s and things like that to make it a whole lot easier. So that's snapping to that 90. I'm going to grab these other areas for now. The cool thing is these areas, they're already linked. Do something wild to show you that as I drag this, you'll see all those tasks are just on there. So it just takes tons of work away. If I double tap anywhere on the line, it gives me an extra node. And if I want to take one of those nodes away, I can just double tap again. So I'm going to do this pretty quickly here and do kind of a sloppy job at showing you that I'm basically building a 4D model in just a matter of a couple of minutes. And that's one exciting thing about inTakt. So our designer actually has a background in video game design, and one thing he's learned is if it's not extremely intuitive, people aren't going to play it. So we take the same philosophy with inTakt as we go through and build this tool to be something that'll be useful to people that don't have a lot of extra time to give to something like building a plan like this. So I'm gonna make some really weird areas here. Whoops. You know what? I'll do it that way. I'll just grab those and start moving them around. Grab these. So you see this very irregular shape that, I'll add a little more detail to that shape. Zoom in. Probably going too far with this for the purpose of this demo, but don't want to show it sloppy. So now if I just hit this play button here, you can see the dates along the bottom and what's going on where in the different areas. And I'll tell you this, there's other videos on our channel that talk about just the principles of task planning, how to come up with these areas, how to level them and all that. So there's a ton more to learn there. We also have some consultants we can recommend as well to help you to really find great success in task planning as well. So bam, there's an area really quick. Let me jump over to the schedule again and show you how we update the schedule. So I personally don't like to see those gaps for the weekends and all that, so I'm actually going to pull that out just for my own preferences. And each task, as you tap on it, and there's tons more than I'm showing you here, but the trades have the option to, or have the intention is to have them click on when they've completed the task. It's all about handoffs in task planning, when one trade hands off to the next trade. And if I hit that I'm done with that task, it'll actually put the picture of the person or the name of the person that said it was done, and they can write whatever they want. Received. Maybe this person that received it will say, a little messy, but okay. And someone on the management side will say, I approve. That was a good clean handoff. Notice this task has now turned gray. And let's say we have another task here that I'll say it went according to plan, which does happen more often in task planning than it does in other types of scheduling, but there are tons of ways to deal with delays and issues. A lot of it's very proactive, and there's a lot of mechanisms there, and I can recommend some good books on learning those things. But let's say that this task right here ended up going a wee bit long. let's say it went 7 days instead of the 5 days. So instantly it's going to ask why. And so we'll go through this list here. And should I blame the designers again? Yeah, why not? And I'm going to hit save. And you'll notice, boom, you see that shift in the plan. And not good. But let's say I'm going to find a way to overcome this by allowing these two trades to, to work in the same space. So I'm going to come in here, edit these default links, and I'm going to say this task, this overhead HVAC, I'll let it overlap 2 days. With that layout and framing task, and I hit save link there. And then I'll also say, all right, so I'm letting that one overlap, and I'm twisting my own mind here. Which ones did I, to get this back on track? Actually, yeah, I need to make this one overlap as well. Sorry, my mind. I'm going to edit the links here on this one, and I'm going to let it also overlap that bad task. Hit save links, and boom, we've been able to pull ourselves back into alignment. But there's a ton of theory and team decisions and all that go into absorbing impacts. But you'll notice as well that with this task overlapping here, it ended up adding a second row to accommodate it. If I still want to see that good, clean single row, I can turn off on this multi-rows. And you'll notice we can still see the overlap there. And if I tap on one of them, it'll show what the other task is in that area. So there's different ways to work with those. But you know what? Turn multi-row zones on. It's a good feature. So we have the ability to even have repetitive overlapping tasks. We've run into a lot of clients that like to have a lot of parallel tasks in their task plan, and we accommodate for that in multiple ways, whether through the work plan, by showing subtask detail, or by just simply having these tasks overlap. So there's a lot that can be done there. And so let's say that week is finished. I'm going to lock this lock line. So this is basically like the data date you'd see in P6 or other places. And boom, it moved forward, and maybe in the next week, I can go through it. I can just keep statusing week to week as things move forward. And yeah, whoops. So that one I'm going to say wasn't done or received. And maybe I'll just bring this back to right here and lock the progress for that week. And one thing you will notice is through all these, only 50% of them are handed off cleanly. This brings me to the report section. So within the report section, week to week, it's going to track how much of your handoffs were clean or not clean. And then it's also going to go through and show which of the tasks that were the big offenders. So you can jump to those really quickly if you want to go to those tasks. But with task planning, one really cool thing is we can see variance by task. So that one task that went long, it's going to show the reason for it. And the cool thing is you have repetitive tasks going through, so you can actually see which tasks are the ones that are repeat offenders. And then we have the classic reasons for variance. So we're able to see, of each week, what were the reasons. And then the roadblocks log is also housed in here, and it just gives you a full log that you can go through. You can sift and sort and search and all the things that you'd expect and want to be able to do. It also lists those affected tasks. So there's a lot of value in there, and you can find out more with that. I'd like to also touch on managing users. And so inTakt is sold by project with unlimited users allowed. So you just add people's email addresses. If they're already inTakt members, the project will show up for them. If they're not yet, it'll send an invitation to them. There's a few default roles. So let's say I want to make this person not an admin, but an editor. And then I can even specify further, which tags, can they only do the plumbing tasks, for example, and you can establish these tags in your plan. It's just dead simple. You type hashtag and a tag, and you can create these tags in the tasks or at any level you can create them. But we also have the ability to create new roles from scratch, any sort of granularity and permissions that you find useful. And then, you know what, there's a couple more things I'd like to show you before I jump out of this. So I can go into the Takt settings here. Let's say, so we've already started this project and already been going on a little bit. Something crazy happens, and I'd like to switch these two areas, the sequence of those. And you know what? I'm also going to switch these two tasks. And I can add, delete, remove. We went through 37 different scenarios of things that could happen, and allowed inTakt just to respond really well to it. You'll notice it keeps track of which tasks are already completed, and then it resequences the rest of them in that new order. So I switched the areas and those tasks, really making it crazy. I don't recommend doing that on a regular basis unless there is a reason to switch areas and all that, but it totally works and compensates, and you can make any sort of changes on the fly, add additional tasks, change durations of things. But now I'm going to jump into, and there's some other things I didn't show you guys earlier. Let's see. Remember when I got the plumbing fixtures and I gave it twice the duration, but I doubled the crews? Notice it automatically did these leapfrogging crews for us. Well, let's say what I did was a mistake with resequencing these. I'm going to jump into this history tab. Every time you make some crazy change to the schedule, it'll record. It'll make a copy of the schedule at that point in time, and you can actually preview them here by tapping on them. So if I tap on these, I can put stars on the ones I want to save. So this will say for the big switcheroo. And you know what? And it'll always save the ones with the stars. The ones without the stars, it saves down to a certain point and then it starts recycling that space. But I'm actually going to restore that version because I like the way it looks a little better than where we were. We also have all sorts of copy and paste and things like that you've learned to expect. That printing, this is a really big one here. We can export to PDF, and there's a big PDF builder. I guess I'll just show that really quick. We have this ability to to get really customized with what comes out. I could do look aheads. I can do different sheet sizes of paper. I can do some legend options. This one I've got the legend on a separate sheet where I want the roadblocks to display, so you can really get a good clean PDF export. We also export to Excel, and this should show up here in the screen recording I'm doing. And when we export to Excel, this gives you a lot more flexibility with what you do with the model or the schedule. And it has a legend there on the right. It also does workforce, so you can produce your own histograms and things. And then it gives you activities and relationships in a form that you can work with other scheduling software. But just to make things simple as well, we can simply export to P6 or Microsoft Project, and it'll come with a WBS for the zones and subzones. It comes with all the logic links, and it's actually really careful when you do the overlaps. It'll actually put out the start to start and finish to finish to avoid danglers, to give you really high DCMA rankings and all that on your schedule quality. So it comes out with good solid quality exports that come out of this. Some of our users are still required to submit P6 schedules to their client, for example, and they can just export it out of here, and then they can, even if they have a bigger project that this is a part of, they can import and do the import to update feature and all that if they have other works they want to keep track of that aren't tax plan related. But I feel like I've covered a good swath and given you a good sampling of inTakt, but please check out the other videos if you want to see more, and please reach out to us if you have any more questions. Thank you so much. We'll talk to you later.